another thing we learn about Poe is that he's very creative. You know, one thing you see is kind of like an ongoing theme through the film is that these CFers, when they're going into the hospital, are prepared. They've packed bags, they've got decor for their rooms, their own blankets, their own pillows, and like a great many of the CFers I know, including myself, do that. Like, I try to bring my own blanket, and of course, you know, laptop, all that stuff. The one thing I'll address that I did not see enough of was weird pajamas, which I'll give. Stella wears some weird outfits. Just some weird things, I think, in a hospital. Like, as someone who frequents the hospital as, like, a long-term patient, some of her clothing choices I found a little questionable, like, for functioning purposes. But I think it would have been a prime time to throw out the onesie. Anyway, that's just a completely different tangent. But we see how all these campers are prepared to be in the hospital long term, and they all have their own, you know, what that means, being prepared. Post-preparation is having snacks, food, you know, seasonings to spice up the terrible hospital food, which is something I relate to personally. If I'm ever in the hospital, you can always count on me to have some full sugared soda, because my hospital is diet and zero only, and I don't do that. And I've always got snacks. Maybe some Twinkies. Sometimes it's for roll-ups. I almost always keep cereal in my room because I have a problem. I love cereal. But so that is kind of Poe's idea of, to be prepared, he has to have that. Now Will, we learn that Will is an artist. He draws cartoons. He does like a multitude of artistic things. So for him, his preparation is having these, this paper, these pads of paper, these pencils, these art supplies. And then we've got Stella, whose the idea of preparation is kind of having all of her meds where she can see them, and then also her computer so she can continue working on her videos and her app, this app she builds. So the idea that all of these different things culminate to this mental and physical preparation of being in a terrible place for, you know, weeks at a time is brilliant, because that's absolutely what I know I do. I know what several other CFers do. So that was kind of cool. And yeah, I get absolutely insane looks when I walk into a hospital with like a suitcase or multiple bags of things. And it's just because I know what I'm doing. Like, this idea of being a professional patient, absolutely. So I liked seeing that. Let's see. There are a few things that I felt I didn't really care for. I didn't really. And this is something that's based on each clinic. All clinics are different. But Stella has her meds in her room at all times, like a week's worth is what I think it shows. And the only thing I've ever been allowed to keep in my room, and this is not even out of any convenience, this is because they have to, are like my Advair inhaler and my enzymes. Enzymes, which I'm not allowed to have like on my person. They have to keep them in a drawer with the computer where they scan the meds and stuff, which of course I can access, I just don't bother. Once something comes into a CF's room, it is not supposed to be taken out. It is disposed of. Just because we are on what is called a contact precaution, meaning if we touch it, it's no good to anybody else. It could, germs, all that. So, sometimes I think that's absolutely overkill. But it's also better be safe than sorry, which the most people I know would rather be safe than sorry. So that's really meds like that. I've never seen meds like that brought into a room. Yeah, most centers that I know of, meds have to be dispersed roughly around a certain time. And that's not just for the convenience of the nurses. It's also because some meds have to be taken in a certain relative time basis from one to the next one. So you take a med twice a day. Some of those meds have to be between like 9 and 12 hours apart, or they can cause adverse side effects if they're taken any closer together. Which it's not to say that people with CF can't take their own meds. Obviously we do when we're at home. It's just that increased liability in the hospital, if something were not to go properly or if something were to be missed, it causes a lot of problems for the nurses and the staff. It's a lot of paperwork. And I know a great many nurses who like are kind of I didn't know, I'm not going to say nurses. I know a great many patients who can be completely responsible at taking their medications like that in the hospital. There are a great many patients who don't want to have to think about that responsibility. I put myself in that, group because when I'm at home, I'm pretty strict about all that stuff. I try to be. I do the absolute best I can. Not to say that I'm 100% perfect with timings or anything, but that is a stressor. And in the hospital, that's something I don't have to worry about. And odds are if I'm in the hospital, I'm extra tired. Out of everything, that's something that's nice to have a break from. Not all patients like to have that break, of course. So that's just my perspective. But there are also patients who are completely incompetent. I know them. Maybe even in the past I have been that person. I'm not going to lie. I was a teenager like every person with CF once. I don't think I was ever completely negligent in like just saying I don't want to do that. I think it was more of like, I'm busy, I'll do it in a minute. And then going, I'll do it in a minute. And the next thing you know, you're halfway through the day and you're like, it is too late. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm a perfect patient, or I've always been. I'm not even a perfect patient now. I accept the responsibility and consequences that come with not being perfect at everything like that. But I will say I do my best. So, and I think that's a reasonable expectation of everybody. And the reality is everybody's best. Sometimes it's not good enough, and you have to have that extra management. So just having meds in a room like that, and it's the negligent patients that ruin things like that for the best that they can, good patients, So it just doesn't, that system, I can't see that working. It actually kind of frustrates me, because and some patients even fight tooth and nail to be able to take their own enzymes on schedule and their own, like, insulin, which, again, is something I like handing off the responsibility in the few times that I can, so that's my method of dealing with it.